New game quit. No options. Okay. 8888 Needles AL. Needle AL. Roxas being locked in a Pontiac Grand Prix with bad shocks. Do 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 da da do da. Chapter 1, Apocalypse. Today's the last day, and it would have been nice to see the blue sky one last time instead of this thick fog, but oh well. How to play. Look around and read hotspots by zooming in out, clicking mouse. Look at arrow for a few seconds to proceed. Press enter to change settings. Whoa, this is weird. I reckon it's going to be a busy day. But I've got many of folks to say my farewells to. Look at arrow for a few seconds to proceed. I hadn't fit for these long walks. My old legs is worn out. This is a very strange... It's like Google Maps. I'll go meet the Ingle family first and spend some time with little Susie. She's about 12 and my most favorite child in the world. She's as pretty as Georgia Peach. Always has a big smile. I often see her reading through this window here. She's been helping me to read and write, but that gibberish don't stick in my head no more. I done learn how to write my name a few times, but the letters always turn upside down. I'll take these here flowers for Susie. That always makes her merry.
Hey, what's going on?
This is where the town children play around this time of day, but I don't see no sign of them. They usually be out here raising Cain, but not today. I'm upside down. That's what's going on. One time, I got turned upside down through a webcam redeemed by Zazarus. But then some town children was playing near this pond and they saw someone moving about in it. When the children came closer, they saw an escaped black prisoner. I reckon he got shot while trying to escape because he was bleeding an awful lot. Right away, the children started throwing stones at him. Uh-oh. Is this what this is about? One of the stones landed right in his eye and blinded him. This area was just puddles of red. I didn't stop the little rascals, though. They laughed and kept pelting him until Susie came out. She gave the kids hell for what they'd done and made them scramble away. Susie told the prisoner to hide in her shed. She told no one about him but me. Boy, he was in terrible shape. Well, the guards saw the bloodstains here and figured that he was hiding nearby. They found him in the shed, and... Hey, is anybody home? It's me, old Godfrey. Look, I got some flowers for little Susie. That's funny. Why hain't they... Why hain't they home? I'll come back after I meet some other folks. That's George Grady's house over yonder. Let me go say my goodbyes to him. Why is everyone... Where is everyone today? The whole town feels doggone quiet. Ain't so much as a mouse stirring about. Maybe everyone's at the temple, but I didn't hear about no ceremony or gathering today. Hey, George, you home? It's me, Godfrey. George and his missus been trying for a child almost 6 years with no luck. George shared his plight with our Lord Father Glorious and was told to bring his lovely wife to the temple for a divine blessing with the Father himself. Well, that was almost 9 months ago, and what do you know? She gave birth to a healthy boy. Just the other day, see George here telling some folks about how the town ain't gonna put up with the lies no more. He said the trust is broken and that we ought to start an uprising. We've been lied to for too long. That was his words. There's Miss Wilson's place. She's an old widow that took care of me for many years. She told me about the religion and says that I ain't allowed to go to no rituals because they evil. She's a fine cook, too. Can't nobody cook like her. Just the other day, she brought so much food to the ceremony that make a man's mouth water. Tarts and cakes and sandwiches. And I don't know what all. Of course, none of us townsfolk got much to eat because the temple elders got served first. And then temple guards had their fill. By and by, when it was our turn, there weren't nothing left except crumbs. This house is decaying in shabby condition. I should have listened to Miss Wilson's and painted it when I had the chance, but my brain can't remember so good. It's the least I could have done to repay her for her kindness. Hey, there she is, sitting at the window. Howdy you do, Miss Wilson? Maybe she'll offer me a cup of cocoa. It's my most favorite treat, and it'd be swell to enjoy it one last time. Open up, miss. I've been thinking about meeting you since morning. It's good to finally see someone in town. Ma'am, it's me, Godfrey. I saw you at the window just now. Hello? Why, gee Willikins, something about ain't right. Has it happened already? This is an interesting game. I think I'll go talk to Ernest. He's a black servant over at the Judge Ravenel's house. Even if there is a ceremony at the temple, sure as heaven, Ernest ain't got be invited. In memory of Catherine Wilson, 1810 to 1885, widow of John Wilson. That big place is Judge Ravenel's house. He's also one of the founding members of the temple. They say I'm and Father Glorious been friends since childhood. Gunshots in distance. The judge and father was both a couple of regular farmers from Needle, Alabama. But now look at them. One's the county judge, and the others are dear Father Glorious. Leave it in thy Lord's hands, for thou can't grasp his ways. Father Glorious said that in a sermon just the other day. The faint sound of leaves rustling in the wind makes it feel so lonesome and mournful, as if the whole world's dead and gone. Hopefully Ernest will tell me where the whole town's gone to. I'd like to say my goodbyes, because I ain't knowing what's going to happen tomorrow. Hello, Ernest, for dread's sake, please tell me you was home. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, my lord, who's shooting and firing? Stop firing, it's me, old Godfrey, doggone it. Who's out there? Better hide behind this house before I get shot. I got to sit tight and be extra quiet. I'm trembling all over. I can't stop shaking. Look, my hands just won't quit quivering. Town's been talking about that day would come. Most of the folks lost their trust, but they should have stayed silent. They know darn well what the temple guards is capable of. Guards walking nearby. Dear Lord, please save me. I hope I'm safe here. Just gotta hush and not make as much of a squeak. We told George Grady that he's He's asking for muck, raising too many questions. Don't know what became of all the others that doubted the Father. The temple's got ears everywhere. Now look at the dreaded mess we're in. I can't hear him no more. I think the guards went back to the temple. Let me try again. The furnace is home. My old heart's thumping so fast. Ain't good for me. Badass games with a raid. Please, Ernest, beg you, open up. I'm terrified. I ain't breathing so good and I'm parched. I need some water, please. What's going on, badass games? Welcome in, Raiders. Hi, Bullfrog, Storm Owl, Hellsmith. What's up, everybody? How was TRLE today? Did we make some good progress? Welcome in, everyone. Hey, Flash112. We're just playing a bunch of Steam indie horror games that I didn't get to do during October. So scary times continue here tonight here on my channel. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I'm Crocatoad. I'm a variety streamer. I play literally everything. But tonight we're dedicating the night to just a bunch of Steam indie horror games. So welcome in. If you like watching scary games, this is your jam right here. What's up, Mute Fruit, Uncharted Raider? Howdy, howdy. Hi. We do have anonymous follows as well. If anyone would like to follow the channel, no one will get called out for that. And we are a lurker-friendly stream as well. If you just like lurking in the background, you're more than welcome to do so. But yeah, this is our second game tonight. I plan on playing a ton of them. I'm not really sure what's going on in this game so far. It's a very interesting game. It's like a Google Earth horror game with the text and stuff. I'm still trying to figure out what the story is here. But hopefully we get to the bottom of it. And thank you guys for joining in and welcome to the stream. Hang it, it's locked. This one's locked too. Footsteps of guards walking nearby. Oh Lord, please make him be gone. Let me go have a peek. Coke is here. Coke is finally here. Do you plan on playing Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection? Bullfrog, this looks real interesting. It's a very interesting game, Storm Owl. It's like if you were playing Google Maps, but it's a text horror game so far. I guess it's a horror game. I don't even know if it is a horror game. It seems kind of scary, spooky rather, not really scary, but spooky. I'm sure once we get to the punchline of the game, it might turn into more of a horror game, but the look of it seems very like gloomy. Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, motherfucker. It's about time you showed up. I've been only streaming for, I've only been streaming for an hour and 40 minutes. 30 minutes of that was just my intro too. So didn't really miss much, just the first game tonight. But yeah, Bullfrog, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. I've actually heard good and bad things about that, but I love Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's amazing. In fact, it's funny you bring that up because I'm planning on doing a Mortal Kombat week here at my Twitch channel soon, where I play every Mortal Kombat game and do the campaign of each one. And a lot of them I've never played before, so they'll be first-time playthroughs. But yeah, we're going to call it Crocatoad Combat Week. But yeah, we'll do some online matches for anyone that wants to play online. And do all the campaigns of all the Mortal Kombat games. We're going to make a whole week, like Combat Week, out of it. I'm looking forward to that. May God curse those darn guards. I reckon they went back to the temple. That still don't explain where all the folks is. Everyone's gone and disappeared in the fog for all I know. I think this is like in the slave days. I'm getting vibes that I think I'm a slave, but I'm on good terms with the people, and I'm about to leave to go somewhere. I don't know, but I'm getting like this is slavery days, which is really weird. You don't really see games based on that. Farmer Jim lives in that house down yonder, and that's his barn next door. He's a Firm and fervent believer, O Father Glorious. Never misses a sermon or ceremony at the temple. He's always dressed in his fine white cottons for all the rituals. He says he's been to all of them. Say at least his horse and cows ought to be there. Seen any sign of life, be heaven sent for my soul. I feel terribly alone and empty. I could have sworn I heard footsteps. You have to slide in for that? Heck yeah, Stormal. Yeah, anyone's welcome to join in when we do any kind of like PvP on Mortal Kombat. Yeah, we'll have open lobbies for anyone. There ain't no animals, horse, or cows. One of Jim's cows had a calf that was recently sacrificed. What? Jim would have personally sacrificed his old trusted steed if father so asked. Okay, I'm not liking the vibes of the temple and the religious. Many of the townsfolk have been giving Jim cold shoulder recently. George Grady told us to be careful what we tell him because Jim's only loyal to the temple. Jim has changed an awful lot since he became a believer. He weren't like this. A rotten stench is coming out of that shed. I wonder what remains Jim put in there, but it's decomposing and giving off a rancid smell. No use of this firewood no longer. No. It's been laying here untouched for years. No. The whole town's supposed to gather in this field tomorrow for the decisive day. Father Glorious had his heavenly vision in the same field more than 20 years ago. Angels came down and gave him holy revelation. That was the day regular old Avery Cartwright became our Father Glorious. I often sit here and stare at the skies, maybe to catch a glimpse of those angels. They say Father Glorious's black hair instantly turned ashen white after his encounter. Remember once meeting Jim after the first of the rituals, he had a crazy look in his eyes, like that of a madman or a murderer. He smelled of smoke and burning and kept chanting glory, 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 like a raving lunatic. He became feverish after that for almost a week. That used to be Father Glorious's house, but now it belongs to Warden Henry. Say, that's a good idea. I'll head to Cartwright Prison and maybe they'll know what the deal is. I'm sure the prisoners is still around. See, I ain't no dummy that everyone makes me out to be. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Okay, we're getting into touchy subjects here. Chapter 2, Demons. I made the long walk to the prison. Can't believe this has been my daily walk to work for so many years. My legs ain't what they used to be. Hey, Billy, it's your old friend Godfrey. I ain't reporting for work, so don't get no ideas. You hear? Open up quick. I gotta tell you about the town. Now everyone's missing. Just as I suspicioned, ain't no sign of him. Well, Billy's always been a lazy slouch, so maybe he's off napping somewhere. Stop crying like a little girl. I've been a janitor in this prison for many years, and Billy was always talking my ear off with the gossip in the world. Talked so darn much that even told some of the prisoners about the big day tomorrow, and now they's excited, as if they're coming to heaven with us. Dog barking in distance. Oh my good lord, I ain't seen a single person all day, but it sounds like that damn dog Stonewall is alive and well. Hope the gracious he ain't coming through with us tomorrow. Yeah, we haven't seen anybody since the game started. I ate all the guard dogs here. Whoa, that was a fart. I ate all the guard dogs here, but none is worse and vicious than that blasted Stonewall. Rumors he was brought in from Cuba. He was confined as a pup and daily starved, given a snack only when he chased a black person. Oh boy. He was beaten so often that his skin has thickened. Now he goes rabid just as the sight of a black man, many of whom he's maimed and eaten. Why? He's become so violent that they almost never take the muzzle off him, or he'd even bite the warden. You got your British short hair? Nice, 1010. How is it so far? It was my bad luck one day that I was cleaning the kennel area and Billy forgot to put the muzzle back on him. Well, that darn Stonewall bit through a chunk of my left leg, and I ain't been able to walk right since. No. There's always 2 guards up on that tower, but ain't seen no sign of them either. Billy told me that those guards killed Abe some weeks ago when he was trying to escape. He was older than 80 and would have known he'd get shot. Maybe that was his purpose. Cute, made 2 poops and plenty of wee-wee so far. Well, that's the sign of a healthy dog, I guess. Or a cat, I mean. Boy, this place is just getting shabbier and crummier since they fired me. Billy tells me that I was the best janitor this place ever had, but now it's all falling apart. Why, just look at all this decay everywhere. I remember this. They took it on the day they did work on Professor's head. Even Judge Ravenel showed up to see it in person. Strange thing to celebrate. He doesn't sleep in his cube house thing. To the Honorable Father Glorious, I'd written to you earlier as to the proposed leasing of more convicts. As you are aware, a company has been leasing convicts from Cartwright Prison, and I've been paying our fair dollar for them, not to mention my personal donations to the temple. However, a request for 300 more convicts has not been met. We are in dire need of more blacks. Of the 400 we originally leased, more than half have perished, and work on the railroad has drastically slowed. Our shareholders are not happy. I beg they pardon my bluntness, but for the last time, please send us more blacks, or we will look elsewhere. Jesus Christ. Let me go talk to Warden Henry and see what he figures. Most of the townsfolk say that Warden Henry ain't a bad person, but I disagree. Even when he was a plantation owner, he was well known across country about how brutally he treated his slaves. Warden Henry was then a colonel during the Civil War, and I believe that further hardened him into who he was today. No black prisoner so much as moves when they hear Warden Henry is coming through. Okay, but what about the white fuckers? There were bad white people too. It's been brought to my attention that Alabama State Senator Robert Barnes is forming a special commission to investigate claims of abuse at the prison. I'm convinced it was leaked by that detestable smart aleck from Ohio to see to it that he gets what is deserving. Control the deaths and torture in the prison for some days, and for heaven's sake, have the whole facility clean. The English language does not have the sufficient words to express the utmost stench in the prison. Clean up the vile prisoners and make them at least presentable before the commission comes. I am pressing some legislators and even neighborhood to put an end to this dastardly commission. Therefore, till I hear from them. Judge Thomas Ravenel. This office is mighty comfortable compared to the rest of the rundown prison. I sit here sometimes while cleaning, if the warden wasn't in, away from all the chaos and cruelty. Pray this letter finds you in the best of health. I have not been regular at the temple these last few weeks, but it's only because I've been busy sentencing so many new convicts to our mutual benefit. I endeavor to bring your attention to the bothersome Senator Barnes and the commission he is forming to audit the prison. We must quell this commission through protests of the townspeople. I propose that you heat up the town against the blacks. Perhaps a rape accusation followed by a ritual will get the town into a frenzy. Tell the town that Barnes and the commission want to set all the black rapists and murderers free onto their women and children. Young Mary has turned 14, is quite the beauty. I shall be most glad if you arrange a thrice between us. What the fuck?
No.
I'm getting a little bit triggered reading this. There's a growing fear that in me that it's already happened because Billy and the warden ain't here neither. What will become old me if everyone's already gone? Black prisoners got to be in their cells because Father Gloria said many times that it'd only be us white folks up there. Let me check the cell blocks. The cell block feels dead and hollow, just like everything else today. I always hear cries, groans, and screams here, so the silence feels spooky and depressing. Sweltered and hot, I'm dried up thirsty. I'll sit down here after I figure out what's going on. I didn't enjoy cleaning the toilets one bit. They'd be overflowing with filth and the smell was putrid. But I did dutifully because I'm a good janitor. There's usually around 20 convicts cramped in this here cell, sweating in scorching humidity. One of the prisoners, Titus, was kept here and was always friendly to me. Fuck's sake, 20 people crammed into this one. He used to be a slave and didn't have no place to go once he was freed after the war. One day he was sitting under a tree minding his own business and the sheriff arrested him for vagrancy. Not a very good period in our country's history. Not a very good period. Judge Ravenel sentenced Titus to 5 years for that. He was leased out to a plantation a few months after, where he and 10 other convicts was told to clear a swamp down in Jackson County. I heard that they were chained for days in that knee-deep pool of muck. Many got malaria from mosquitoes and ticks constantly eating away at them. Alva's son got to Titus and so thirsty he was drinking the same filthy swamp water they'd been standing and wasted in for days. Most of them died from sickness, but Titus made it out. Well, he was sent back here just a couple weeks later because the plantation owner's missus said he followed behind her one evening that spooked her, and she complained to her husband. Titus told me he just wanted to ask her for some water and didn't know what he'd done wrong. A few days after Titus was back, Father Glorious told all of us at a sermon that a young black man had dared touch and rape a white woman and that he'd be brought to divine justice. They held a ritual and Titus was invited, but I didn't go because I promised Miss Wilson I wouldn't. I never saw him after that. He was no older than 15. Yeah, I don't know how edgy. I just want to let everyone know. I don't know how edgy this game is going to get. It's on Steam. It's, it's allowed on Steam. If it crosses like any like barriers, I'll stop, obviously. I'm going to assume it's just kind of touching on like more educational purposes, I guess, for the fact of saying it's a horror game to use that theme. And I can appreciate bringing light to like not very good subjects that are from real life to like be more educational and enlighten us. But yeah, at the same time, I'm getting like a feeling in my stomach that's like, I want to throw up. Whenever I'm in this cell, it makes me heartsick and blue. There was a prisoner here and he became a friend of mine. His name was Isaac, but everyone called him Professor. Weren't even from the South. He was a newspaper writer all the way from Ohio. He was the only schooled black man I ever did see. Well, he'd come down to the South to write about how things was going 10 years after the Civil War ended. The judge didn't like him snooping around our town. All right, Birdsey, have a good lurk, man. Thanks for coming by. I take liberty describing to you the deplorable conditions as I witness as prisoners at Cartwright Prison in Needle, Alabama. Convicts are brutally tortured and tormented on a daily basis. They are then leased out to corporations for private profit in a form of illegal slavery. Work conditions at these companies are deplorable, and many convicts are affected by exhaustion, malaria, dysentery, and gunshot wounds. Nearly no least convict ever makes it back alive to the prison. Senator, I urge you and your fellow Alabama legislators to probe the disgraceful exploitation that is taking place at the prison. Judges, sheriffs, and the police are part of the racket. You'll likely not receive more letters from me since I fear I'll be leased out soon or worse. Professor was accused of stealing a chicken and sent here by Judge Ravenel for 10 years on the account of grand theft. I never quite figured out why a well-to-do man would steal a chicken, but it was his word against the white farmers. Over time, he got to telling other prisoners about how things was in Ohio. Started filling their heads mumbo jumbo like freedom and rights for blacks. Well, Billy ran his big mouth off to the warden about this, even though I told professors to stay quiet about such ideas. Next day, all the prisoners was brought in this area, and the guards dragged Professor out of his cell. Judge Reverend even came and was given the nice seat. All the rest of us had to stand and watch. Professor was tied down to this here chair. Doctor was brought in and said that we do some sort of experiment by hooking up big wires on Professor's head. Doc pulled down a lever that sent electricity through him. I've worked here a long time, but I never heard such cries of pain and agony like that did that day. Remember the foul stink of burning human flesh in the air?
No.
No, indeed. No, indeed. Professor was never the same. His jumbled words didn't make no sense. He just gazed in the distance with drool running down his mouth. That's what happens to blacks that think that too much around here. This is what the warden warned to others. I found his dead body in a cell a few days after that. Fuck. I'm getting like kind of triggered here. These sad memories is making me miserable. I just want to be at sermon at the temple where Father Glorious always gives us hope. Used to be sitting on this ledge during my workday to rest. The breeze through the window helped ease the suffocating heat. Mercy sakes, that stone wall's barking. It sounds nearby. I think he's in this cell block. I'm terrified to death of that damn devil. Still remember the pain when his fangs pierced in my leg all the way to the bone. 3 men had to pull him off and rip the meat from my leg. Clean up the mess many a times after I used Stonewall on the prisoners. One time, the body was barely joined to the head because he'd eaten clean through the neck. Took me all day to clean that mess of blood in a cell block. God, all the terrible memories of Stonewall floating back to me. 5 prisoners was once planning to make escape. Warden rounded them up and stripped them naked. They chained their hands up and let Stonewall and a couple of other dogs gorge themselves to have a puke and... I'm not even going to say that, said one of the guards. I'm not even going to fucking repeat that. I can hear footsteps getting closer. I'm going to hide in one of these cells. I pray he doesn't see me. Dear Lord, please save me out. Holy shit, that dog is huge. That dog is bigger than me. What the hell? Eats a lot of protein. Can't hide in here all day. He'll smell me out. He's tasted my blood. I know he won't go for just my leg today. I'm dead. Afraid to leave this cell right now. Sounds like he's gone off to the other end of the prison, so I'll head in this other way. I got to stay on my toes while he could be lurking in the shadows. Looks like some of the prisoners got to scribbling tomorrow's date in the prison. Billy probably never told them that they're going to be left behind during the apocalypse. 8888. Father Glorious always said, only you, the true believer, shall ascend to the heavens. Downright giddy just thinking about the promised land that Father's told us of, where the cream and honey flows in streams, where the ripest of fruits hangs on every tree, where it's only us, believers in the green hills and meadows. Many of the townsfolk get doubts about Father, especially that George Grady, but I still dream of the day when the angels will fly us to the heavens. Somebody really ought to talk sense into George. Why the other day, many of the townsfolk were saying he's going to need lots of help against the temple guards. And dog my cats. George said the craziest thing I ever heard in all my born days, that the town ought to free all the black prisoners so they can help take down the temple guards. He's gone plumb crazy. What exactly does he figure he's going to do? That he's just going to march into this prison and open up all the cells? Maybe. Why not? I guess George thinks it's going to be a simple walk in the park. He probably thinks he's easily going to come down from this here wall. Supposed to hide among the trees here, but the burrows so guards don't see him. And suppose he somehow climbs up this wall and gets through this here window. Once George gets in, supposed to go up the cells to free the black prisoners and convince them to march with them to the temple. Really believes I'm going to give him extra seated keys I still got. What does he expect? The prison guards and the dogs will be asleep. They're going to welcome with open arms. Don't you know that the prison guards will be shooting and firing at every last one of them? It'd be a bloody massacre. If all the comics ever did get out, I can only imagine what they'd do to the prison guards. Maybe a group of them would even go after Stonewall for all the terror he done. At the end of it, you probably find George Grady's body among all the dead riddled with bullets. Even the prisoners did get out. This all can't happen. Someone better talk some smarts into that boy George, for heaven's sake. I'll have a word with him if I can find him, that is. I'll find my way out the prison now. Ain't nobody here except Stonewall. No one would ever hear my wails for help if he attacks me. Still sends chills down my spine when I come near the cell, because that's where they used to keep Moses. I feel like spirits wander and haunt this area. Used to be a slave and told others on the plantation about how his ancestors used to do some kind of witchcraft or voodoo many years ago, but he didn't believe in that gibberish himself. Plantation Moses was at had almost 100 pigs, but they all got swine fever once. The sick hogs would just lie down all day and huddle together in a pile, most of them vomiting with high fevers and diarrhea. A few weeks later, their back legs stopped working and all the hogs on the plantation died of illness. Plantation owner got to hearing these rumors about Moses' witch ancestors and accused him of putting him an evil spell on pigs in his farm. Judge Ravenel sentenced him for witchcraft. We're all meeting. Sorry. Moses was sent here, although he said he didn't know nothing himself about witchcraft. That was only his ancestors. A few months after he was here, many of the prisoners got sick with cholera. Again, people started blaming Moses for the sickness, although he'd also gotten sick and he almost died. Hopefully you weren't eating anything with pork in it. Many prisoners died from the disease. I ate cleaning up the cells after piles of dead bodies was disposed because I didn't want to get no nasty sickness. Praise the glorious Father that I didn't get sick during that time. The warden decided it was best to lynch Moses because he didn't want them pulling a witchcraft at a convict camp elsewhere. Father Glorious agreed it was settled to have a lynching in the town for the whole public viewing. Jesus Christ. Moses was none too pleased, said he'd done nothing to nobody. When they was trying to noose around his neck, he said he'd curse the prison and the whole town of Needle, and his ancestors' evil spirits would forever haunt them. Well, you know what? Good. That's what they get. I was there when they hung him, since it was my job to clean up afterwards. The branch they was hanging on broke during the lynching, and he fell from a height, which broke both of his legs. I hope his spirits did come back and fuck them all up. I dragged his broken body back to a different tree and hung him again. Fuck. This time at work, Townsville getting applause, and I especially remember Beeman's smile on Farmer Jim's face. The memory of I can't even read the rest of that. All right. Curse put the demons and wicked spirits on the prison and town. Everything's gone straight to hell. And 3 shakes of his sheep's tail. Curse that the sound would suffer would probably come true. Goodness gracious sakes. I gotta go to the temple and tell Father Glorious about all this. He's the one who's gonna save us. That's what it always says at the sermon. All right, I think we're getting... It feels like we're getting to the punchline now of the game. Just a bunch of backstory for like the slavery days in Alabama. There ain't been much time left for the day, and I must tell Father Glorious that Moses' curse has come true. I'm drained from all the walking, but I must endure. Thank the Lord, I'm far enough from the prison now. I often wish that the temple weren't built on such a high cliff that I appreciate it today, because I ain't worried about Stonewall following me all the way here. Father Glory said the temple built on a cliff so he could watch over us for protection. There's many dangers out here, plain simple townsfolk. His father says the biggest one is... not even going to repeat that. Since the war ended, we've been told that our prison kept inside or they'll run rampant on our... Oh my God. All the rest of the returns protection is that we donate our earnings to the temple, which I mean... I remember being in this exact spot the other day. I was sitting here on this rock with little Susie and the other children was playing nearby. A bunch of put pine seeds under this tree and was waiting behind it with a basket. They was trying to catch fox squirrels. Finally trapped one and they hollered with joy. Pricked this twig through its mouth and out the other end. Start a fire so we can burn it like we... What the fuck? Susie picked up a rock and threw it on the child's foot before they could do anything. That made them scoot away, and Susie freed the squirrel. She's my most favorite child. I always laughing and always smiling her big bright smile. These people are fucked up. In more ways than one. I heard her laughing a long time now. She was helping an escaped prisoners the temple found out. Soon after, it was announced that she'd been chosen as the new Lady Bliss. I was overjoyed for her little Susie had been chosen as the newest wife of Father Glorious. Father says it's holy duty to get married 80 times by the apocalypse. Now Susie would be one of the ladies Bliss. I remember seeing her at the wedding ceremony. She looked like an angel when she was walked down the aisle sat next to Father Glorious. Looked at her. She looked back at me with the saddest eyes. I wish I could comforted her. Seeing her 3 months later at the next ceremony when Father Glorious was marrying the new young Lady Bliss, Susie stood behind the throne alongside all the others. Different than the other girls because she weren't smiling. Her eyes had an empty, lost look. I waved to her, but I figured she hasn't noticed. I could tell her mind was elsewhere. So there's some cult shit going on. So not only is there extreme racism, but there's cult shit going on at the same time. Wait a god darn minute. That sounds like Susie. Where are you? There's someone walking right there. Susie, it's really you. I'm so glad I finally found you. I can't wait to tell your parents. They've been worried sick about you. Been asking Old Town since I ain't heard it from you, but they always turn the topic when I say your name. They just look down and never answer. Your mom and pa have been awfully brokenhearted as of late. They don't even look the same folks no more with sunken eyes and deep buried frowns. Feels like all the happiness has been sucked straight out of them. Run? Well, apparently this guy can't run because he got a chunk of his leg bitten off by the dog once. So he's kind of screwed. Slow down, child. My legs ain't so good. I've been walking all day. Listen, something awful strange is going on. The whole town's just disappeared. Oh boy, I'm gonna sit down in the water for a minute. My dogs is killing me. Yeah, we kind of boned if we gotta go somewhere fast. What the hell is going on with the sun? Whoa. Did you see that? I don't like coming here because I've seen a few dead bodies of prisoners washed up on the shore here. I ain't seen no gunshot wounds on them, so I figured they either drowned or was drowned by somebody. There's the Alabama River. It takes many hours by boat to get to the next nearest town called Shiloh. That's actually where I'm from. I came to Needle more than 15 years ago. Boy, I sure had a different life back then. My dogs are barking. Cult shit and child marriage and extreme racism and slavery. Yeah. We're just touching all the subjects in this one, aren't we? Some of the townsfolk have been thinking about taking a boat and leaving Needle for good. It's too late for that now because the big day's tomorrow, the apocalypse. New home for you? Tomorrow on 8/8/88, the whole town is going to gather in a big field and all of us going to drink the heavenly milk. Town children will be the first to drink it, and then they'll cover their faces with white cloth, lay down in the field, and wait for the angels to take them to heaven. Okay. 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 After that, it was Sasvoldo drain it, and finally, Father Glorious at the end. I get slap happy thinking about the final moments as we all lay on the field, our faces covered. Some weeks ago, we was all brought to the field to practice the last day, but we was given just regular old milk, not the special heavenly milk they've been making and storing down at the prison. Speaking of milk, hi, milkshake. Speaking of the milk. Why, I'll be. Where the heck is all the temple guards? There's always a small army of them guarding these temple gates, but see no trace of them. Whole town's afraid of those bastards. They wear ugly green robes and frightening white wigs. Worst part is the masks they wear with long noses hanging down to their chins. Big circles for the eyes and creepy smiles that stretch ear to ear. They carry powerful rifles. No one knows who's behind the mask neither. I've heard that one must pass many vile and despicable rituals to become a temple guard. Can't even think about those sick customs. Milkshake is here to brighten up the game because the vibes are getting really not good. I had a nightmare about this exact spot the other night. It was dreadfully scary and really shook me up. The only thing that gave me peace was that it ain't possible to happen in real life. Jumped that there was a whole cavalry of temple guards here, more than 50 of them. They were standing all alert, ready to shoot, shouting orders with each other, taking up positions. There was a terrifying panic in their voices. I can't fathom. There over yonder, a mass of people slowly approaching and hiding amongst the trees and bushes. It was black faces and white faces, prisoners and townfolk all together. Mass people kept marching forward, hundreds of them. That's when the temple guards started firing and kept firing until this place was just heavy smoke from the rifles. Bodies upon dead bodies lay in the wake, black bodies and white bodies, prisoners and townfolk. Blood streamed in puddles from the corpses, but the masses kept coming forward, stepping over dead bodies, trampling over almost dead. A few of the guards ran out of bullets and tried to escape from the growing mob. One guard climbed this here pole, but slipped, fell in the rocks with a bone-crushing thud. The mob beat on his dead body till his green robe darkened with bleeding. The guard's mask had broken when he fell, and I distinctly remember in the nightmare that it was the dead face of Farmer Jim. Good, that fucker deserved it. In the nightmare, I found myself as part of the mob, and there was no black or white in the mob. It was just one big breathing, heaven-seething monster. And the temple guard shot away at the monster, but there was no stomping it now. There was just too much bottle of rage powering it. Rage at the lies, rage at the torture, rage at the injustice, rage at the exploitation, rage at the abuse, rage simply being made a fool of. But the strong rifles did damage to the beast. Countless human carcasses lay all over the place. Some had blown off limbs, others half dead, crying for help and agony, but the crowd kept coming forward to get to the guards. In the nightmare, some of the scariest parts what happened when the townsfolk got a hold of the guards. The townsfolk didn't have no rifles. They only brought whatever tools from their homes, like knives, hammers, and axes. The mob pounced on a temple guard, and the townsfolk mashed in his head with iron rods and iron griddles. Townswoman then repeatedly stabbed on his body in hysteria on this here well, all the while screaming like a rabid animal. Pretty violent dream, I would say. In another part of the dream, I saw a group of barefoot prisoners overpowering a couple of guards and grabbed their rifles from them. Prisoners didn't know how to fire the gun, but mistakenly pulled the trigger and shot the guard through the stomach at point blank. Force of the shot pushed the prisoner off his feet, and he flew down the ledge. As for the guard, the shot almost blew his body in two halves. Crazed crowds lurched forward. They was covered with the mixed blood of dead prisoners and townsfolk and dead guards. They were drenched in sweat from the sweltering humidity, and their eyes had the look of pure lunacy. Some folks had brought with them firelit torches, and they lighted ablaze the dead bodies of the guards. They hollered and laughed like wild children, as if there was anything funny about it. At the end of the dream, all the guards had been killed. The prisoners and folks sat here on complete silence. Then one of the townsmen broke out in loud sobs, and the rest of the folks joined in mourning the loss of the town children, other fellow townsfolk, and their hope. Others cried for their newly found freedom. It's strange that I have the same nightmare almost every night, and I always wake up screaming and crying from it. It weren't easy, but I finally made it to the temple. I'm already starting to feel peace in my mind because I've arrived to my most favorite place. Wish everyone could see how grand the temple is. The lovely marble on the floors is from some far-off country. The fine wooden roofs is all the way from Oregon. The stained glass mural is by some fancy artist up north. I'm going to bow down at Father Glorious' feet even longer than we usually do because I'm delighted to see him. I can finally tell him how everyone's gone missing. I'm sure he'll find a solution. I wonder if they'll let me into the temple, though. There's been too much tension between the town and temple. The tension has been taking a toll on even poor Father Glorious. At the sermon some days ago, he said there were some traitors among us, and he broke down crying, asking if we lost our faith in him. We all shouted a resounding no and told him that he's our savior. How could we ever lose our faith in him? Thankfully, that cheered him up, and he was all smiles the next minute. I'm really curious what the punchline of this game is. Oh my Lord, our temple is on fire. Lord, have mercy. Help, please somebody help. Our holy temple is burning. Oh, sweet Lord, have mercy. Hey, badass games. Thank you for the raid. The whole temple's on fire. It's all burned down to hell. Damn that George Grady and the rest of the non-believers who's been playing in this. They burn it down. They really burn it down. Where's Father Glorious? Where's all the ladies' bliss? God almighty, what should I do? There's just nothing left no more, and there ain't a soul here to help me. Too much blood, sweat, and tears went into building this temple, and many blacks died during its construction. Father Glorious said it'd be the last structure standing during an apocalypse. Now it's all gone already. Why, this is where us town folks would sit on the floor when Father delivers his sermons. It was only a few days ago when he was preaching, getting us ready for the last day. This is where Father Glorious sits on his mighty purple throne, his many wives standing behind him, and current Lady Bliss beside him, and behind him the mosaic showed Father's encounter with the angels. These your special rooms, none of us townsfolk is allowed in them. They're only for Father's special friends, like Judge Ravenel, the sheriff, and other big officials. They always accompanied by one of young ladies' bliss. Oh, yes, of course. Those were the freak-off rooms, I guess, for the cult. Now it's all been burnt down to dust by George and his merry band of non-believers. Y'all ain't coming to heaven with us tomorrow. You can burn and scorch here during the apocalypse. This main character is drinking so much of the Kool-Aid. No pun intended. Tomorrow, how is any of us going to get to the heavens of Father Glorious staying here? What's going to happen tomorrow on the big day all of us have been waiting for? Are all of us honest to God believers going to burn in fires when the apocalypse happens? Are we to suffer for the acts of those doggone non-believers that did this? No, I've been running all All over hell's half acre, preparing for the big day tomorrow. Done waited patiently all these years to go to heaven and taste the streams of honey and cream and the fine wines. Be in the green hill zones away from the cursed stinking town of Needle and the cursed Dagnam prison, all the death and dead bodies and torture. I'm getting dizzy and I can't think and I'm too old. And I'm thirsty and I'm drained and I'm getting dizzy. It's probably all this fumes you're inhaling. Right, milkshake? Oh my, what happened? That's Susie's scream. Where am I? I must have passed out. It's already night. Susie, where are you? Gotta find and help her. She's in danger. She's a strong girl. I ain't like her to scream. She helped an escaped prisoner, knowing darn well what would happen to her family and herself. Her mom and pa beaten up by the guards in front of the whole town and in front of Susie. Her parents only agreed to the marriage after the temple threatened a much worse fate for her. Last time I saw her at the temple, she was standing behind the throne with the other ladies' bliss. She dropped a letter for me, and I sneakily picked it up when I bowed down at Father's feet. Gave the letter to George Grady because he's one of the few folks in town that can read. I don't know what it said, but I remember seeing the color leave his face after he'd read it. He wrote in reply and asked me to give it to Susie, but I ain't seen her since. Based on Susie's letter, George called a secret town meeting late the other night. That's when he proposed a silly idea of freeing the prisoners to take on the temple guards. After the meeting, when I was sitting alone at home, I heard a knock on the door. Lo and behold, it was none other than Farmer Jim, brought along a bottle of freshly made moonshine. Stopped drinking many years ago because Miss Wilson says the devil's in the bottle. Well, maybe I did have a wee bit here and there when she'd gone to bed early. Billy slipped me a few sips every time we'd had a hard day at the prison. And as a no-good Farmer Jim wheedled me into having some moonshine with him. I had too much to drink. I told him stuff from the meeting that I shouldn't have. Farmer Jim went and told the temple about the townsfolk having doubts about the apocalypse, cussed my damn self for spilling the beans. Dear Mr. George, I dearly pray you read my first letter. As I had written, you must do all you can to stop the town from drinking the heavenly milk. The town has been lied to about everything. I beg you, please save the people. The temple has started suspecting me and give my love to Mom and Pa. Susie. Wish I would have learned how to read when Susie was trying to teach me, but I always kept forgetting everything. I ain't got time to figure out what this letter says. Judging by the moon, it's already well past midnight. That means the apocalypse is upon us, but the angels ain't going to come unless Father reads a special prayer. It's only one place the mob could have taken him. I got to find him lickety-split before they do it. I'll leave these flowers I picked for Susie here. Dragged myself down the hill and made it to the farms that lead back to town. I'm going as fast as I can, but something ain't feeling right. Gotta stay positive. Everything's gonna be fine, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Hey, I say that phrase, actually. Those Dagnaf wolves burned down the temple, but they never do nothing to Father Glorious, so they wouldn't lay a finger on him. He spent his life for benefit, looking over us, protecting us, preparing us for today. Whatever misunderstanding the town's had, he's still our Father Glorious. I'm sure they won't harm him. Now, they ain't gonna do what was done to Titus. I promised Miss Wilson I wouldn't go to no rituals, but gosh darn it, I went to the one Titus was invited to. I saw when the townsfolk dragged Titus blindfolded through these meadows, their white robes while chanting glory, glory, glory. And I seen when they brought him to the big kiln they call Hellfire. Seeing Farmer Jim lit the fire and townsfolk sat on benches as Father Glorious read from the holy book. I remember seeing the terror on Titus' blindfold face. Could smell the black smoke and must have known what was coming. Titus was tied to a stake, kicking and screaming. He was carried into the raging fire and it swallowed him up whole. All of us just sat and watched, even the town children. And that's where they started taking Father now. They're going to tie him on a stake. They're going to light the fire, and those non-believing bastards are going to burn him alive. There's going to be nothing left of our Father Glorious but his charred body and ashes. I'm losing it again. I've got to breathe and be calm. Ain't nothing going to happen. Everything's fine. We all been waiting too darn long for this day. I'm going to find Father Glorious soon, and he'll be dressed in his fine white robe. As soon as it's dawn, the town bells will toll, and all the townsfolk will congregate in the field. There'll be joy in everyone's face, excitement, and we'll soon fly away to heaven. Many of the folks will be looking to the skies and see the bright light that the angels shine. When everyone's gathered, Father Glorious will read us his final sermon. It'll remind us how blessed we are. Believers only will ascend to the promised land. For the non-believers, they'll be destroyed by the hells and fires, and everything will be ablaze in apocalypse. We'll look down at... Wait, so... I'm starting to think that I am the cult leader. Final sermon is complete, and the towns will get blotted. Temple guards will bring the heavy kegs filled with heavenly milk. All the town's children will be lined up, and they'll be given a glass of milk. They'll be told to drink, even if it tastes foul. And after that, their mom and pa will tie white clothes around their faces, and the children lay down in the field. It'll be the parents' turn to drink the milk. Yeah. Something will go off and wrong. Many of the children will start screaming, most painful, heart-wrenching cries. Then more children will start wailing and shrieking in complete torment. Many of the children will be grabbing their heads and chests with extreme pain, like they have never felt. Many of the white cloths wrapped around their heads will become stained with filthy with puke. Parents will run to help their children, but they'll be stopped by the guards with powerful rifles, and the desperate parents will push the guards away with children already stop screaming and crying. They'll fall face first in the field, laying without breathing. Parents will finally start understanding the whole truth, and they'll fix their manic eyes on the temple guards. Father Glorious will give instructions to the guards, and that's when they'll start firing and blasting at the townsfolk. Some will die by gunshots to the head, chest, and on the back. Others will die getting crushed as the townsfolk rush to lock themselves in their homes. The guards will shoot many door and kill them wherever find a side, and by the guards will run out of bullets, and they'll be safely take Father Glorious back to the temple. So why are we talking about this then? This is a what-if scenario. Say, I can hear the sound of chanting. I reckon I'm close to the mob. I better hurry and get to them before they light the fire. Please don't go. Please don't do it. Y'all gonna be forgiven if you repent. Even George Grady can be forgiven for plotting against Father. Damn, I should have never given him a blasted letter from Susie. It got him really riled up. I don't even know what it said. And I should have never given George the extra keys to the prison. I didn't know he'd actually pull off the ridiculous idea and free the black prisoners. And I should have never drunk the moonshine and blurted to Farmer Jim about the town's secret plans. Dog barking in distance. Why, in that tarnation, that damn dog Stonewall doing here? Boy, I really lost my marbles. That dog was killed when the prisoners escaped. Wait, what? That's news to me. We were just running from it earlier. I'm looking forward to this day for more than 14 years, dutifully paying my earnings to the temple and devoting my heart and soul to Father Glorious. It's supposed to be the happiest day of all of our lives, the day when all our miseries would finally go away. Indeed, the apocalypse happened on 8/8/88, just not the one we was promised for so long. Why? That sort of milk from heaven causes little children instant brutal death. What kind of temple kills their own congregation? What kind of leader peacefully watches a violent massacre unfold on his own faithful believers? Father Glorious must have some divine reason. How could he wrong us? They already lit the fire. For the love of God, let him go. Whatever he did was likely for our benefit. Only he can take us to the promised land. Let's all forget this wretched world behind us and ascend to paradise with the angels. Seen too much on that dreaded fateful day. Too much death and too much bloodshed and too much savagery. Please take me away from here. I've been living through this same nightmare for too many years. Can't take it no longer. I'm looking all day wondering where the townsfolk and the prisoners disappeared to, but I finally remembered where everyone is now. They all dead and gone since years ago. What? The whole town says I'm a dummy because I can't think so good and I keep forgetting everything, but I ain't no different from the others. See, we simply forget things we've seen and ain't ever learned from them. Over, Professor telling the other prisoners, one day we forget what's happened in the past and let it repeat again and again. Nothing is going to change unless we stop forgetting. Phony, dishonest prophets will keep stringing up and sing their gospel of us against them. They'll keep dividing us for their own benefit, and we'll keep praising them and following them with their eyes shut and minds closed. When are we going to start learning from the past? When are we going to open our eyes? I'm going to just curl up and sit here for a while. I'm old, and I see now a lot that ain't no man oughta, and I know how darn well when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to forget everything and live the same day over again, just like I've been living it repeatedly for the last 12 years. Wish I died in the mines like all the others that day many years ago. Lord, why did you let me live and see all that I've seen in this cursed town? Why? "27 years earlier." Get out of the mines, coming down. Get the hell out now. Save yourselves. It's all crashing down. Help me, help me. Godfrey, you can't save him. Hurry up or you won't make it. The mining company for sending us down here. Just mash bodies under rocks, oh my lord. We're almost out. There's the exit. Hurry up now. So what does the mine collapse have to do with... What is the mine... Notorious prison shut down after scandal. Judge and sheriff accused of profiteering from prisoners. Carver prison was permanently shut down following a damning report by Senator Barnes of Alabama. Report detailed litany of abuses, torture, corruption, and convict leagues, and the majority of prisoners were black, and many had committed mere petty crimes. If those district judge, the sheriff, and several officers are being investigated for corruption linked to the prison, they devised a system of falsely incarcerating and then leasing out prisoners to corporations for personal profit. Sighting a mysterious bright light in the sky leaves many in awe. Several residents in the small town of Trinity, Alabama were left in a state of shock when a bright, mysterious flying object appeared in the sky around dawn. Witnesses say the strange object, described as a large, bright light, was seen first hovering in the air before flying off at an incredible speed and disappearing into the sky. Despite the many witnesses, authorities have been unable to provide any explanation for the phenomenon. One witness described the experience as if a star was falling to the ground. Horrific scenes of mass murder and suicide in rural Alabama town. Authorities yesterday made shocking discovery of hundreds of dead bodies in the small town of Needle, Alabama. The bodies were believed to be members of an obscure apocalyptic cult as well as escapees from a nearby prison. Several survivors detailed the chilling accounts of the day that began town children being poisoned during a ceremony and ending with the cult leader Avery Cartwright being burnt alive in a kiln that the cult referred to as Hellfire. The lead investigator said that he had never seen such a disturbing scenes. 50 years after Needle tragedy, former cult member reveals all. Mary Jones, real identity hidden as detailed her traumatic childhood of infamous kinship temple cult of Needle L. She was a child bride of the leader Avery Cartwright. She was shot in the leg while making a heroic escape from the temple and rescued by authorities after the shocking events took place in the town 50 years ago. Never didn't want anyone to go through what I did. Her voice shaking with emotion. The whole town thought I had died after the gunshot, but I managed to escape in the woods. Man rescued 8 days after Shiloh mine collapse. In a tale of tragedy and survival, a coal mine accident left dozens dead and only one person miraculously alive. The accident occurred when the mine collapsed in a landslide, trapping dozens of miners underground. Despite efforts of rescue teams, only one person, Godfrey Davis, was able to make it out alive. That was me. After being inspected by doctors, he was described as severely brain damaged. We will rehabilitate him and shift him to a nearby town with the proper care. He'll be able to put this traumatic experience behind him and hopefully lead a normal life. Stop your gun, I'm hollering, mooing, you stupid cow. I'm coming. Can a man get no goddamn sleep around here? What's the world come to that a car ride has to tend to horses and cows personally? The war done ravaged my whole business. These lousy no-good Yankees destroyed my land and freed my Ungrateful damn slaves. Hell, I gave those blacks food and shelter, but they betrayed me in the end. Right. They left me the minute they could, just like she left me as soon as my money done run out. Curse all of them, curse this blessed cow that just won't stop hollering. Good old days just be sitting on my porch watching the slaves working the fields, hearing them say yes over time. No money, family, and no respect. A couple of cows won't let me sleep and rotten job at the prison. The chance there's going to be hell for all those who are wrong to me. Avery Cartwright. I'm going to show everybody again once I get back on my feet. Oh my God. No way I'm saying that on stream. What the fuck? So we've got the KKK, we've got aliens, we've got cults. What? We've got ghosts. Where the hell did all my cows go? Oh no. Well, there went all my cows. What the that it's that game touch review on Story Swing made similar experiences in the future. That game touched on so many different subjects. Like what the hell? Slavery, KKK, aliens, UFOs, cult,